Broadcasting live from the moon and back, this is The Coin Chat, the most trusted voice for all things cryptocurrency. Each week we dissect an important issue and cut through the noise and misinformation out there in the world of blockchain, cryptocurrency, and ICOs, capturing the facts that truly matter to you that will give you an edge in this fast-moving emerging market. The who, what, where, when, and how of what you need to know in crypto to get ahead so you don't get left behind. Now here are your co-hosts, financial and crypto experts Yuri Cataldo, Steve Good.
Hey, this is Steve Good on the Coin Chat with Yuri Cataldo, my co-host, and today we're joined by a special guest, Kristjan Kangro, CEO of Change. Welcome to the show, Kristjan. It's great to have you.
Thanks, Steve. It's great to be at the show.
So you guys did your ICO back in September, October of last year. Not last year, it's 2017. We're in 2019 now.
Right.
And we kind of do a look back and say, this is where you were. We'd love to hear, what's been going on, how you've gotten to where you are. So before we start, do you want to just give a quick introduction in terms of where you guys are at and what you've been doing?
Sure. So basically at Change, we're building an investment-focused challenger bank. And back in 2017, when we had the ICO, basically we had the card only testing in Singapore, and since then we have come to Europe with most of our team. We are launching the cards basically this winter. So this is actually one of the cards just here. So with this you can pay.
Hooray! Finally.
Hey, all right.
Entire European Union with the different you can use a euro basically balance, but you can in essence basically convert the different cryptocurrencies as well. And we're right now adding stocks as well. We've got a cryptocurrency exchange license from Estonia, and I mean there's a lot of exciting things what we've done. Most important thing, you can sign up for the card now, and we're shipping this basically during this winter already.
I mean, I signed up for the card a really long time ago. So let's talk about that, because that's been a major pain point that a lot of people have. I don't know if complaining is the right word or trolling is the right word, but tell us what happened. I mean, we know what happened with Wavecrest as a vendor that was supplying to Zappo cards and to advanced cash cards and to BitPay cards, and everyone got slammed by it, and you guys got slammed by it. Tell us what that was like. What happened from your side of things? Exactly.
So basically our story is at first we tried to do that in Singapore. That was in 2017. In Singapore, the regulation wasn't really favorable, so we decided more to focus in Europe. So in Europe, we started working with Wavecrest, what is a card integrator. We got approval, we were pretty much ready to launch, and then basically one day we come to work and Wavecrest dead.
Yeah.
Basically we cannot ship the cars. Entire team was really kind of down at that point. But then we were like, hey, this is our opportunity to be one of the first on the market. And right now, actually, we're gonna be the second after Wirex, the second crypto-friendly card on the market. And this card,
so Wirex. Well, you've got Wirex and sort of Revolut. I mean, Revolut is more like real banking. They've got their own license for banking. They've broken off from Lloyd's Bank now in the UK, and they're spouting off. But there's not quite the same, because you can buy crypto with their card. And I have a Wirex and a Revolut card, so I know how they both work. And to be honest, between them, if we wanted to do card comparisons, I'd say Revolut works better because you don't have to sit there converting the money on the fly. But certainly in Europe and in the UK, we need another card. We need something else for comparison and competitiveness. So, a true card where you can deposit crypto in and spend it on the fly is absolutely a gap in the market right now.
Sure. I mean, if you take Revolut, it's still built on like financial instruments. So
right.
You can actually send Bitcoin in, for example, convert and then pay.
No, you cannot. You can only buy it and convert it back, but you can't send it.
Exactly. And as crypto fans, and if we imagine this kind of decentralized, future of the world, everything's based on one electronic cash for everybody, and you can build service on top of this. This kind of Revolut solution doesn't really help, right? So I think, Wirex really have something going on, but I think there's so much better things what you can do on this, and we're getting a payment just like Wirex. We should be getting this in February or March. So that will also cover the entire European Union. And this card what I have in my hand, these are live transactions with this card. So this is not only basically something theoretical. We actually the team can already go in the shop and try it out basically, and it works.
See, Yuri, I told you I should have flown from London to Estonia just to go pick up my card. It would have been so much easier.
I know, it would have been a lot faster.
And I'll tell you what, so Kristjan, I'll tell you what.
My team is here.
Hello, team.
So
I'll tell you what, I will commit to this. So when I get my card, I will happily, do another episode with you guys to talk about the usage of that card, and I'll compare it to the WireX and Revoluts because I'll have a baseline of all three. I'll tell you, the one limiting factor for me with WireX and using it is that every time I'm in a shop and I want to use it, if I'm sitting there with Bitcoin or Ether in the card, I literally have to stop, go on my phone, and I have to start converting the money, and then I have to wait a few seconds for the transaction to complete before I can actually spend. That is kind of annoying, to be honest. So, have you guys dealt with that problem in terms of the on-demand transaction part of it?
So yeah, as all crypto enthusiasts in this office, I mean, we actually have 7 different nationalities in this office because we're all fans and we want to make this the future. In essence, still Change card and WireX card, they're both euro cards, what you basically can use to send in crypto and convert and then basically pay in euro. So we're still going to have some of these hustles to go through, but we anticipate in the future this solving itself.
Right.
So that really comes down to the card integrators and the card networks, why, you have these hustles, but we see solutions to solve it with push notifications and so on. So yeah, we definitely are listening to customers. Every week there are people who are in our waiting list who are giving feedback. We really built the kind of a iteration, measure, learn framework where people come to the office, give feedback, how they want to use it. And people do want to spend crypto, but we're going to need to wait a bit longer to make this that's one might expect.
Oh, we've lost him. We lost you for a second there. Sorry, just repeat the last part.
So what I was saying is, I think we all want to have this decentralized global crypto bank, and build services for the entire world and ship some kind of a payment method to actually use this crypto and so on. But in essence, why we came to Europe as well is we want to build, play in the regulatory framework and kind of follow all the rules what MasterCard and Visa and the regulators have. And for this, there's going to be some little hiccups, for example, like WireX has, but we anticipate this solving itself in the future. And in essence, we're going to be one of the first crypto-friendly cards in Europe. So as an investor or a contributor, you can be happy about that.
For sure, yeah. So do you think just getting the card out is going to have an impact on the price of our depressed coin?
Yeah, so basically so we are one of the first companies in Europe, but basically we made a bold statement that we want to actually convert our utility tokens, or at least give opportunity to the community to convert them to equity-like tokens. Mm-hmm. Because we talk with the community, and a lot of people, although we wrote in the white paper that it's the utility token, access token, and so on, they still felt like, they were contributing. They want to have more upside in the project. So therefore, we have been talking with the Estonian regulator to give these guys who hang on and give us support. We want to make them, having the upside from the company, and then therefore we want to convert our utility token, or at least give a chance to convert this to equity-like token and have the upside as a VC in a sense. So that's exciting.
Wouldn't that make it like an STO token then?
Exactly. So that's the goal, but it wouldn't be a full security. What we are talking right now with the Estonian regulator, what's actually one of the Estonian, startup landscape is amazing, by the way. And, the regulator really talks with us, and we're trying to find a solution. So it wouldn't be a security, but you can still kind of share the upside with the community.
Right.
If it would be a security, then we could only trade at the T0 and different security exchanges. So there wouldn't be liquidity. So it's always a trade-off. Okay. Because, if you invest in Spotify, for example, you're going to be illiquid for the next, if you invest in the beginning for 7 years. That's so, right. We want to have the liquidity of the crypto, but we also want to give the upside. So that's the challenge. Yeah. And I would encourage all the contributors to hang on, see everything what we're doing in this office is legit. Come to the office, give us feedback, be in the waiting list, and we're going to solve the token kind of a challenge as well.
So one of the things I would say is that in the process of doing this, wouldn't that put you at risk of being delisted on places like KuCoin? Because, the exchanges only accept utility token. And just by publicly saying this, doesn't this put you at risk of being delisted by these exchanges?
So not for this token what we have. So right now, basically, we have a full utility token, yeah. What you can use for payment for the service. So for example, right now our service is free. Everybody can come to our app, buy cryptocurrency, trade it commission free, and now we're going to ship the card as well, so you can basically convert and then pay with our debit card. And we're going to have stocks coming up very soon as well. this token basically is right now used only for paying for the service. So when we have a premium plan, but the new token, what we're going to do is for the token swap, it's going to be secure, equity-like token, and that's going to be completely new game with what are the exchanges going to be listed and so on.
Oh, interesting.
Very cool.
Yuri, do you want to jump in?
So I wanted to back up just a second to just talk about your interest in cryptocurrency. So, because your project is very ambitious, what was it that made you want to get involved in this and launch this company in 2017?
Yeah. So basically, I was. So my brief story is I was in the Netherlands doing my first tech company. My first company I actually started in Estonia when I was in high school, but the first tech company was in the Netherlands. I sold that to Dutch investors, came to Singapore. I was hired as a CFO on the VC companies there in Singapore. And listen, I just saw how bad the banks really are. And then I was trying to understand, because, I saw all of these fintech companies in VC, and then I was trying to figure out why is it so? And why is it so is because, especially in Asia, in most of the countries, the governments are super over-regulating this industry. And especially in Asia as well, there's corruption and stuff like this as well. So actually the service what people get, it's so bad. So that what made my mind think okay, how can you solve that? How, there's global competitive market of service providers. Why people in Indonesia, for example, or Vietnam or some countries in Europe get such a bad service? And then I realized it's the over-regulation and corporate interest and lobbying. And then obviously that was the part when I got really interested in crypto, because crypto can be this platform, on what you can build this competitive market. I mean, it should be that the best, lending company in the US would have customers around the world. The best investment company in Indonesia would have customers around the world. That competitive landscape would completely overhaul the service quality.
Yeah.
But obviously now if you go in depth how it's going to happen, you need to have decentralized identity to do it. You need to have decentralized services.
Well, you're exactly right about that. I mean, one of the things, because I spent most of my career in fintech before I walked out of it and did crypto. And the biggest problem that I always run into was know your customer. They didn't know their customer really, because you have the private bank that has their customers. You have the asset management that has their customers. They have the investment bank that has its customers. Treasury service has its customers, and I can keep going. And what ended up happening was that oftentimes, they had database, and they had no idea that they had 12 customer records for the same customer.
Exactly.
It's just so hard to manage. And these banks have gotten just too big. So not having an integrated platform that's blockchain driven to own the customer data and centralize it and then let the customer control their own data in a single place. It's amazing. If I go on a banking system and I change my address and then I discover another system and I go, I've already changed my address. What's the problem? And I'm ending up changing things. And it's not just banks. It's, big telecom companies and pharma companies. These companies have gotten too big and they've lost their ability to control and centralize data in a simple way. And this is, you're 100% on the mark for me, because I know the problem. I lived in it too. I had big clients like Deutsche, JP Morgan for many years. And I saw this time and again, we were always just dealing with IT problems and regulated problems. And oh my God, it was just constantly something.
No, for sure. And also if you go in depth in this, I think this financial system can be so much more democratized. If you build it on blockchain, money moves like emails, right? This should be given. But also if you look at SMEs, why shouldn't you be able to invest, in different SMEs in your neighborhood and give them, funding and then see how they're doing, or even just invest in one machine in the factory, for example.
For sure.
You can build it, but right now we're building a system where the infra of the banking is so expensive and so slow, only big companies can raise public funding. It shouldn't be like this. In order to protect consumers, you can have, for example, smaller tickets, and there are a lot of things what US is trying with this new regulation to kind of make this more democratic, this fundraising process. But yeah, right now it's only big corporations. The infra is too expensive for SMEs to fundraise, but also for people to send money. The service quality in the, local banks is not good enough. So yeah, that's why Change is here. We want to build a more democratic, more open financial system for the companies and for the users.
Yeah. Now, go ahead, Yuri.
I was going to say, so with that and your ambitious plan to kind of change how banking is going, where do you see it headed in the next, 5 to 10 years, and how do you see Change being part of that?
Yeah. So I can tell you first of what we're trying to what we're trying to achieve this year, and then kind of like what's the end vision. So right now, because a lot of people look